When a man stops fighting invisible rivals, when he no longer needs to win the race others can't even see, something ancient awakens. In stillness, his will sharpens. In silence, his presence deepens. The world bends differently around him. You've been trained to compete since the first day you could walk. They told you to win, to be better, to outpace, outperform, outshine, but no one told you the cost. Every comparison is a silent chain, tightening around your soul. You believe you're rising, but in truth, you're trapped, running a race designed by others. This is a tyranny of comparison, a system built to keep your gaze outward, so you never meet the self within. Society implants rivals like seeds in your mind. You see them in coworkers, friends, strangers online, but they are illusions, projections of your own unhealed shadow. Carl Jung warned us, what you failed confronting yourself, you project onto others. So your competition is not the man beside you. It is the part of you you refuse to face. And Schopenhauer saw the same pattern in the will, a restless striving for validation that never ends. The moment you conquer one opponent, another appears. The finish line moves forever forward. And the cruel truth? Victory over others often hides defeat of the self. You win the title, the recognition, the applause, yet inside you feel nothing. Because it was never your dream. It was only the need to be seen. Picture this. A man stands in a glass office high above the city. He's just been promoted, the prize he's chased for years. The emails pour in, the congratulations echo. But as the noise fades, a heavy silence fills the room. He looks out the window, and something hollow opens inside. The triumph tastes like dust. Because the man he beat is in the room, and neither is the peace he thought would follow. He didn't win freedom. He only bought another cage, gilded with praise. You see it everywhere. The artist scrolling through others' work, doubting his own. The young man refreshing his feed, counting likes like currency. Each glance outward steals strength from within. Even philosophers knew men should be either treated generously or destroyed, Machiavelli wrote, for they can avenge slight injuries but not great ones. The wise man chooses battles, and spares his soul from wars without purpose. Marcus Aurelius whispered the antidote centuries ago. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The Stoic turns inward, not to escape the world, but to master it. So ask yourself, who are you really competing with? The colleague who got the raise? The friend with more followers? Or the ghost in your mind whispering, you are not enough? That ghost feeds on comparison. Starve it. Today, practice the first step toward liberation. Spend 1 quiet hour listing every person you secretly measure yourself against. Write their names. Then beside each one ask, what am I truly chasing? Is it respect? Security? Love? See how every rival hides a deeper hunger. See how every battle is an echo of a wound. Then drop this affirmation into your mind. I walk my own path. No one else can win or lose for me. Repeat it when envy stirs, when doubt whispers, when pride flares. Each repetition cuts another link in the chain. Remember, the world will tempt you back into the game. It will whisper that you're falling behind, that others are getting ahead. But ahead of what? Behind who? The man who stops competing steps out of the maze entirely. And when he does, the noise collapses into silence. In that silence, he hears his true calling. Not to outrun others, but to become whole. So pause. Breathe. Withdraw your gaze from the crowd. The race they run is endless. The finish line, invisible. Step aside. Let them sprint toward shadows. You, instead, walk into stillness. There, the real journey begins, the one within. Because the truth is this, most of your competitors exist only in imagination. They are reflections in the glass, not enemies in the field. And every moment you spend chasing them is a moment stolen from becoming yourself. When you no longer need to win, something greater than victory arises. You gain presence, clarity, authority born not from conquest, but from calm. That is power others can't comprehend, because they are too busy running to feel it. So take the micro-task seriously. Tonight, list the rivals you carry and see through the illusion. In seeing, the chains loosen. In loosening, you return to yourself. Let this be your vow, to fight only battles worthy of your soul, to choose silence over shouting, depth over display, to compete with no one, and in doing so, surpass them all, because the man who conquers others may be strong, but the man who conquers himself becomes unshakable. And when the outer rivals fade, another war begins, not on the battlefield of the world, but in the hidden arena within. There waits your true opponent. And that is where we go next. When you refuse to play their game, the board dissolves, and so does their control over you. The race ends the moment you step off the track. And in that silence, a different kind of strength awakens, one built not on victory, but on freedom. The world trains you to chase titles, praise, applause, validation, to live as a piece on someone else's board. Every rule, every rival, every scoreboard is a trap designed to keep your attention outward. But the moment you reject the game, you reclaim your will. You stop being a pawn. You become the player. This is a collapse of the game, the quiet revolution of a man who no longer seeks himself in mirrors made by others. Jung called it individuation, the birth of the true self, unbound from collective illusions. You no longer need to prove, because you finally see. Comparison is a lie, and competition is a cage. Most people never see the bars. They run faster, scream louder, climb higher, yet the finish line never comes. They chase superiority like smoke, never realizing the fire burns within. Schopenhauer warned, the will is a restless beast, tormented by its own desire. Only when it stops chasing shadows can it rest. Now imagine this. A soldier walks away from the ranks. He's marched for years, medals on his chest, pride in every step. But each victory feels emptier. Each command echoes hollow. One morning, he leaves the barracks and never returns. He settles in a quiet village by the sea. His old comrades whisper that he's failed, that he's gone soft. Yet when they see him, eyes calm, shoulders light, they feel a pang they can't explain. He lost the war of ambition, but he won the battle for peace. You've met men like this. The co-worker who stops chasing promotions, yet walks with effortless confidence. The friend who deletes social media and suddenly glows with serenity. They terrify those still trapped in the game, because a man who needs nothing cannot be controlled. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." The fool clings to meaningless wars until life breaks him. The wise withdraw early and live freely. Epictetus echoed the same truth. No man is free who is not master of himself. Freedom is not granted by rank or applause. It's earned when you refuse to play by rules that were never yours. But the world will test you. It will bait you with comparison, tempt you with praise, provoke you with pride. When someone boasts, you'll feel the urge to respond, to prove your worth. Don't. That's the trap tightening again. Today, practice quiet rebellion. When someone tries to compete, offer no contest. Nod once. Stay silent. Let their ego echo into emptiness. Watch how the tension collapses when you don't feed it. That silence is not weakness. It's sovereignty. Drop this affirmation. I do not play games I did not choose. Let it burn through your mind like a sword through fog. Every time the world tries to pull you back, whisper it. I do not play games I did not choose. Understand this. The collapse of the game doesn't make you passive. It makes you precise. You stop fighting for attention and start building alignment. You act not from hunger, but from clarity. You no longer ask, how can I win? You ask, is this mine to fight? And slowly, the board disappears. The rivals fade. The noise goes quiet. What remains is a man guided by purpose, not pressure. In that silence, your presence grows heavier. People sense it. They can't explain it. They call it mystery, authority, magnetism. But it's simply the power of a man who no longer plays. The collapse of the game is not the end. It's the beginning of real mastery. Because when the external wars cease, the internal one begins. You'll meet the only opponent who matters, the restless will, the shadow within. That battle awaits. Once the outer rivals vanish, your true opponent finally appears. the undisciplined mind, the unmastered desires, the restless that never sleeps. This is the hidden battlefield most men never face, because it's easier to fight others than to confront yourself. You spent years chasing shadows outside you, proving, competing, conquering. But when the noise fades and the crowd disappears, you meet the one adversary who has followed you everywhere. The part of you you've avoided. This is the inner arena. No trophies here. No audience. Only silence and truth. Carl Jung called it the shadow. The buried instincts, repressed urges, and unlived potentials you pretend don't exist. But what you suppress controls you. You cannot command what you refuse to see. To master the shadow is to step into the darkness willingly, with eyes open. Schopenhauer saw the same war within. He called it the will, the blind, ceaseless hunger that drives human suffering. It wants endlessly more praise, more pleasure, more proof. And until you quiet it, you'll never know peace. Conquering others feeds the will. Conquering yourself dissolves it. Imagine this. A young monk, known once for his anger, retreats to the mountains. No wealth, no rivals, no noise. At first, the silence drives him mad. His mind screams for battle, for validation. He confronts his rage, his pride, his fears, not by running, but by watching. Year after year, he sits with the storm until it weakens. When he returns, the warriors who mocked his retreat fall silent. His calm unnerves them, because true power is quiet. It moves without needing to prove. You've seen this energy before. The man who speaks little, yet every word carries weight. The woman who walks through chaos untouched, because her storms are already tamed. They fought the hardest war and won. Machiavelli said, "He who conquers himself is greater than he who conquers cities." Because cities can burn, thrones can crumble, but a sovereign soul stands unshaken. Marcus Aurelius echoed the same law. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength. So how do you begin? Start with stillness. Sit alone for 15 minutes tonight. No distractions. No noise. Just you. Watch your thoughts arise, the urge to compare, to defend, to chase. Don't fight them. Don't feed them. Let them pass like clouds. You'll see how restless the mind is, and how rare peace becomes when you stop running. Drop this affirmation. My mind obeys me, not the world. Repeat it until the truth sinks in. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who commands them. This is not an easy path. Few dare to enter the inner arena because it offers no applause. No one will clap when you master anger. No one will cheer when you silence envy. But in that solitude, you become formidable. You stop reacting. You start choosing. Every moment becomes a deliberate act, not a reflex. 2 examples. A leader faced public humiliation, yet smiled calmly, answering with patience, because he had already faced worse storms within. A father felt rage rise during conflict, but breathed once and chose silence. That single breath became his crown. The inner war is lifelong. You'll stumble. You'll fail. But each time you return to stillness, your authority deepens. You stop being ruled by impulse and begin ruling yourself. And from that sovereignty, all other victories flow naturally. This is a secret few will understand. Power doesn't come from control over others. It comes from control over your own mind. The disciplined man walks through chaos untouched, while others crumble under lesser storms. So tonight, begin. Face the noise within. Watch it. Don't judge it. Let it teach you. Because when you master the inner arena, the world outside loses its hold. You no longer chase approval, defend pride, or fight ghosts. You act from stillness, not reaction. And that is the beginning of unshakable peace. But remember, this mastery isn't the end. It's the gate. Beyond it lies a new kind of power, one that others can sense but never grasp. The power that radiates from stillness itself. And that's where we go next. The man who stops competing radiates a calm that unsettles the restless. His silence speaks louder than their noise. His stillness bends a room, though he moves less and says little. Others can't explain it. They just feel it. A quiet gravity, drawing all eyes without demanding any. This is power beyond rivalry. The strength born not from conquest, but from complete detachment. You no longer fight for space, for praise, for recognition. You no longer need to win because you've stepped outside the game itself. Most men waste their energy chasing attention. They speak to be heard, act to be seen, strive to be superior. Yet every move reveals dependence. The man who needs approval is already controlled by those who grant it. But the man who stands content in silence holds the real throne. Carl Jung called this the archetype of the self. Integrated, whole, beyond the opposites of winning and losing. It is the point where you stop seeking identity through comparison and start radiating it from within. You don't chase magnetism. You become it. Arthur Schopenhauer saw the same truth. Peace is not weakness, it's mastery. Detachment dissolves the endless cravings that enslave others. The detached man appears mysterious because he is free. People feel the difference. They mistake it for supernatural confidence, when it's simply inner stillness. Imagine this. A leader once obsessed with approval, constantly speaking, constantly proving. Every word calculated to win favor. But one day, he grows weary of the noise. He chooses silence. He speaks only when necessary, listens more, observes everything. Slowly, the dynamic shifts. His stillness unsettles the loudest voices. Meetings grow quiet when he enters. His few words now carry the weight his speeches never did. What changed? He no longer plays for applause, and that absence of need becomes presence of power. You've seen it too. The teacher who commands attention not by volume, but by calm authority. The stranger whose gaze stills a room, not through dominance, but through peace. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." But the self-master man inspires both effortlessly, because people fear disappointing him and love the peace he carries. Seneca echoed the same truth. He who is brave is free. Freedom is the source of influence, not force, not flattery, but inner independence. So, how do you begin walking this path? Start with restraint. In your next conversation, speak less than usual. Let silence carry your meaning. Watch how others lean in. Notice how the dynamic shifts when you stop trying to win it. Stillness becomes signal. Silence becomes command. Drop this affirmation. I need nothing, and therefore I am unshakable. Repeat it until it seeps into your presence. The world bends toward the man who does not chase it. Understand, this kind of power cannot be faked. The restless man who pretends calm will betray himself in his eyes, his voice, his need to be seen. True calm comes from surrendering comparison, dissolving desire, anchoring your worth in something deeper than victory. When you are no longer competing, every move becomes deliberate. You don't react, you choose. You don't rush, you wait. Your energy becomes dense, focused, undeniable. Others feel it before they understand it. 2 examples. A young warrior stops seeking to outshine others and dedicates his time to silent practice. Soon his mastery speaks louder than pride ever could. A businessman withdraws from the endless race for status, and in that stillness, creates something timeless, work rooted in truth, not trend. This is a paradox. When you stop fighting for attention, attention finds you. When you stop chasing control, influence arises naturally. When you stop competing, you ascend to a realm no rival can touch. Power beyond rivalry is not the loud flame of ambition. It is the quiet glow of mastery. It cannot be given, bought, or imitated. It grows in a man who no longer needs to prove anything. So withdraw from the noise. Let others fight over illusions. Step back. Observe. Let your silence do the work your words once tried to. In that restraint, you'll find the authority they're all chasing and failing to grasp. Because the man who does not compete cannot be defeated. He plays no one's game, but his own. And when you master the silence, when your calm becomes command, a new challenge will rise. How to re-enter the world with purpose, not pride. That is where we go next. Having mastered yourself, you now return to the world, but not to compete, not to chase. You return to shape it, calmly, quietly, unseen. The man who has conquered his inner storms walks differently. His eyes no longer dart for validation. His steps no longer race toward applause. He moves with clarity, detached yet deeply present, influencing without striving, guiding without grasping. This is a return to the world. The stage after solitude, when power no longer comes from proving, but from being. You are no longer reactive. You no longer mirror the chaos around you. You become the mirror, still, centered, reflecting truth without distortion. Jung called this the state of integration, when the shadow and the self are reconciled, when your strength flows from within, not from the world's approval. Now you can engage without being entangled. You see without judging. You act without needing reward. Schopenhauer saw compassion as the mark of the liberated. Once you escape the tyranny of the will, the restless hunger to outdo, outshine, outwin, you begin to see others still trapped within it. And you respond not with arrogance, but with quiet mercy. You understand their struggle, because it was once yours. You no longer seek domination. You seek harmony. Your ambition refines into purpose. Your will bends toward meaning, not vanity. Picture this. A man once obsessed with success retreats into silence. He steps away from the race, the meetings, the metrics, the endless grind for recognition. For months, he builds nothing, earns nothing, proves nothing. But in that stillness, his vision clears. When he returns, he creates less. Yet everything he touches carries weight. He no longer builds to impress. He builds to endure. His words are fewer, but they ripple deeper. His actions are smaller, but they echo longer. He has become the axis, silent, steady, around which others begin to orbit. You've seen this power. The mentor who speaks rarely, yet every sentence lands like truth. The artist who creates quietly, untouched by trends, yet shapes generations. Their influence flows from depth, not display. Machiavelli said, "Fortune favors the bold, but only the inwardly free can act boldly without vanity. Boldness without ego is precision. Action without need is power." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." You no longer talk of virtue. You live it. You no longer seek meaning. You embody it. Now your role changes. You move among the noise without absorbing it. You act with intention, not impulse. You become a silent force, shaping, guiding, stabilizing, while others exhaust themselves chasing illusions. This is how quiet influence works. Not through volume, but through presence. Not through control, but through alignment. To begin practicing this, choose one daily action, small, simple, and perform it slowly. Make tea, wash a dish, write a line. Do it with full attention. No comparison, no measurement, no rush. Let it be enough. This is how clarity enters the world, one mindful act at a time. Drop this affirmation. I move through the world, but the world does not move me. Say it when chaos calls. Say it when pride tempts. Say it until your silence becomes strength and your restraint becomes authority. Because when you return from the inner arena, you carry something others can't touch. An unshakable core, a vision unclouded by rivalry, a calm that unsettles the frantic and steadies the wise. You no longer chase the crown. You become a foundation it rests on. You don't command attention. Attention gravitates to you. You no longer measure worth by winning because you now understand. The only true victory is self-mastery expressed through purpose. So walk softly, act slowly, speak deliberately. Let your silence hold more meaning than others' noise. Let your presence do what your pride once tried to. The man who returns from solitude brings with him a new kind of authority, one the world cannot counterfeit. And from that authority, the real work begins, not escaping the world, but shaping it through example. Not ruling others, but revealing a higher way to live. The detached man becomes a beacon. His clarity cuts through confusion. His mercy tempers judgment. His purpose gives direction to those still lost in competition. This is a final stage, not withdrawal, but wise return. Not conquest, but contribution. Not glory, but grace. And yet, even here, the path continues. Because when you master presence in the world, a deeper mystery calls. Not just how to live wisely, but how to leave something eternal behind. That is where we go next.